I guess now we're kind of getting into spoiler warning territory because we plan on talking about the ends, the full seasons
Ooh,
of
holy
The
shit.
Boys
Hold,
and
hold on,
Stranger
John, hold on,
Things. What's that?
John. We didn't announce what the
Oh,
next
that's right. Yeah,
required
here I
viewing
am
is.
messing up. It was about to be a perfect segment, and
Oh,
I
Look at that.
screwed
Look
the
at
shit.
that.
pooch.
What
You
are we
forgot.
watching?
You forgot.
Yeah, what's our required viewing for next week's episode?
So I'm gonna go with something that is only something that I've been meaning to watch for years, and it's timely only because the day that we record this podcast, James Caan passed away, and
Oh, rest in
Yeah, very
I've
peace,
sad.
always
man.
wanted to watch Michael Mann's Thief, and I've never seen it.
Me either.
1981, his directorial debut. William Peterson is in it as well. Who else? And there's a couple other names that popped out to me beyond James Caan, but I've always heard nothing but amazing things about the movie. It's always one that, like, on a Michael Mann list. He hasn't made a ton of movies, but
Right.
Thief is one of the ones, maybe beyond Heat, that is always like people
I
are
just
like,
watched Heat.
how have you not seen Thief? So it's like, I don't know. But I'm gonna make that right in the next week, and hopefully we can talk about it. We can talk about it on the pod. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Michael
Okay.
Mann's Thief from 1981.
I love it.
Cool.
I may have seen this when I was a kid because it was kind of an HBO staple for a little while, but I have almost no memory of it except for moments that I bet were the stills that were in the HBO guide that we got in the mail when I was a kid. But they would show, there's like a picture I can picture from this movie. But no, that's great. And yes, let's talk a little bit about James Caan, I guess, with that suggestion, because I do think he's a guy who, he's one of those people who, he's not quite like Tim Curry in that you can judge a person based on what they know Tim Curry from. But
Right.
when you think about James Caan, he's got, that era, he's got, his days as a young leading man, which would include like Thief and Godfather. And then you've got Misery, which was a huge, like, sort of mid-late career, a huge iconic part. And then, of course, in Bottle Rocket, he plays he lived long enough in his career to sort of not so much do a spoof of himself, but to kind of play a role that commented on the types of tough guy roles he'd played in the past. And I think when he did Bottle Rocket, him taking that part was reminiscent. At that point, we were familiar with this idea of the sort of Tarantino-inspired resurgence of taking an older actor and giving them a good role. So it felt a little bit like that role was kind of commenting on that phenomenon too, by giving him this interesting character who wasn't exactly what you'd expect. So, I mean, those are just the three performances that came to mind for me: Godfather, Misery, and Bottle Rocket. And I thought, okay, yeah, like, he's not a guy who you think of as having the most varied career, but those are three very different movies, and he's very memorable in all of them. There's one I didn't mention that I think a lot of people mentioned. Is someone going to say it?
Elf?
Yeah, that's the other one.
It's got to be
right?
Elf. Come on now. Come on, he's Buddy's daddy.
Yeah.
Just he was a great follow on Twitter too. I don't know. It's definitely a great kind of looking across the filmography, like John's talking about, like kind of breaking down those areas of, the kinds of movies that he was making. The Godfather and Misery kind of stand out to me. Obviously, Elf probably would be, the third one if I was going to pick three, that kind of what I know him from or know him for. But everyone talking about him today on most of the social media that I'm on, if it's not The Godfather, it's definitely either Misery or Thief. And that's kind of what in my mind, it's so fresh after talking to you about picking something. So I need to round that out and make sure I kind of complete that. So those are some of the ones that he's most known for. But yeah, I mean, it's another one of those like iconic names and iconic actors that have just been involved in conversation, whether it's some movies that are more prestige kind of things or commercial movies that are really kind of big box office movies. But I mean, you kind of ebbed and flowed in and out of that a lot. And it's another one of those names that you just like, wow, like they're in that like legend kind of status that are just kind of leaving, us. And it's kind of crazy to kind of look at a filmography like that and just kind of look at all those bullet points of like iconic movies that I think most actors of the last 10, 20 years would struggle to even hold a flame to. It's just like, it's crazy like that, movie stars like that just don't exist anymore. And he was in, I don't know, like a poster boy, or movie star in that sense, but like the movies that he was in, there's definitely a history to them, and movies that just have like just an iconic, legendary feel around them. I feel like there was one that I always thought about when I was younger, seeing with my dad. I was trying to find the movie when we were starting to record. Oh, he was also in the Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs too.
Right.
That series was another thing for him that kind of was pretty big, but I couldn't find the one I was trying to remember. But yeah, I don't know, just another legend, just gone.
Yes, and yeah, you're still, 82, which that's a good long life, but you still can have a lot of good years left. So that does seem young. I could have believed he was older than that just from the life he's lived, but I guess he was pretty young when he got started in the late 70s or maybe mid 70s.
The one I was trying to remember, Alien Nation with Manny.
Oh yeah.
Alien Nation. Holy hell, I haven't heard that. I haven't heard that name in a long time. Didn't they have like a spin-off TV show?
There was a TV series, yes. He's in the movie though. Yeah. I always loved that movie, and I actually liked the TV show too. I remember watching it all the time with my dad. It was like one of those ones we watched, but kind of a weird one. But yeah, him and
wow, I haven't heard that name in so long.
Well, there you go.